everybody. How's it going? Oh, mercy, mercy, mercy. For you guys here in the States, this is a little bit different time for us. However, for those on the other side of the Atlantic, this is a much, much better time for you. This is something I wanted to do this year and was so thankful to be able to do it. If you've never been here before on Christmas Clatter as we do a live stream, this is just basically a live recording of a podcast episode. Here after a while, I'll start again and go through it and all that. But guys, thanks so much for hopping on here. Remember, hit that like button. And if you're in the chat, stick around to the end, because once the recording of the podcast is over and you think we're done, we're not done at all. You can stick around and we'll just chat about whatever you guys want to chat about. I know Thanksgiving is coming close. I always have this problem, and I address it, I think, every episode. I always want to do my housekeeping stuff here with you guys on YouTube and then start the podcast and say all the same things again. But I guess that's just, I don't know. Just got it all. I got 3 weeks worth of podcasting to get out. So might be here a while. But anyway, let's go ahead and start. I'll mute, take a drink, and then I'll just come back and we'll start the official recording of the episode. So Trevor, Jessica, Chris, Dwayne, Steven, guys, thanks for being in the chat, and I appreciate you guys taking time to listen. So, well, hello everybody. Welcome back to Christmas Clatter. It's been 3 weeks? No episodes after going weekly because dadgum work. That's all I can say. It's been the craziest year of Christmas holiday season at the post office I've seen in my 18 years of doing it, and just have not been able to get off in time. And there was one day I did get off in barely enough time, but I was just so flat wore out. I just was like, I just can't. Nobody wants to see me nodding off here on YouTube or listen to me nodding off on the podcast. So, got a great episode for you. There's going to be a little bit of change of schedule. We'll be back on Wednesdays next week. Hopefully I can get my work, things rolled out. The essential Christmas songs list, I'm going to pick up where I left off on announcing the list. However, before Thanksgiving, I will put all the songs on the playlist instead of waiting, but then I'll reveal them each per episode, because I really wanted the list complete it before all end day on Friday. And so I'm going to keep doing that, that way. And then I'll have my advent calendar on YouTube only. I might try to make it shorts for, Instagram and that kind of thing. And for some reason, when I said make it shorts, I've always had this dad joke of me wanting to move to Bermuda and starting a channel called Bermuda Shorts, where I just do short videos on the beach. But I'm sorry, I got distracted by my own dad jokes. But it happens. See, there's something else I needed to say. I wish I would learn to write these things down. I always think that my mind's a steel trap until I need to say something, and then it is a steel trap. It's all rusty and stuck open, so things just fly out of there and things. But guys, I really do want to extend my apologies, for not being able to have an episode. It's the first time since first time in a couple of years when I got real sick. But anyway, one thing I want to talk to you before we get to Jack. I know Steven's interested to see what Jack has to say, because when I get Jack on, I actually tricked him. We're not talking about Christmas. We're going to talk all politics and religion. It's all we're going to talk about. And no, we're not. But I want to show you guys a few things. Last weekend, I did a short where me and Ken Smith from the North Pole Dispatch ended up in Atlanta at the Center for Puppetry Arts. And I got a few pictures. I'm not going to show you all my pictures because you guys don't want to see those. But this is a Rudolph ride that used to be parked in front of the Woolworth stores. Woolworths was the No, Montgomery Ward. I'm sorry, Montgomery Ward stores who were originally used Rudolph as an ad campaign, and this is Rudolph in his original stylings in the story, and it's old quarter ride. It probably wasn't a quarter then. I don't remember, but you put some change in there, and it just would rock back and forth. But it was super cool to see that there, and things. And then we also had him and Otter's Jug Band was there. I couldn't believe it. I didn't know these guys were going to be there, and I probably had the biggest, goofiest smile, and was nearly, kind of maybe I wouldn't say brought to tears, but just the smile on my face just was genuine. I complete surprise that they were there, and it was so cool to see all the puppets. They had a lot of stuff there, and like I said, I'm not going to roll through all the pictures I had. I just pulled out some of the highlights. One I didn't put in here. They had like a Chucky from one of the Chucky movies, and they had the puppets from Mystery Science 3000 were there, and some others. So, of course, a lot of Jim Henson stuff, which is very cool. And then these were the star of the show. These are the Santa and Rudolph from the 64 special. I think these were actually ones made for the Japanese special. If you ever seen the episode of the Antiques Roadshow from 2005, where the guy brought these in, these are those, and they've been, officially restored and all that. And they were very cool to see. A lot smaller than I thought they were going to be. I thought they'd be a little bit bigger, but they were smaller than I thought they would be. But very cool to see them. The details on these things, and let's just. Got both my cameras in here, but this is a classic Big Bird here, and stuff. But he let me get this off there. Yeah, Big Bird. He is big. He's very tall. He's got to be like 8 foot tall, I bet. But and then let's see who we have here. Oh, and then old Kermit was there as well. Miss Piggy was there. Cookie Monster. You name it. The only two that I think we missed seeing that weren't there would be Oscar the Grouch and the Count. And those are the only two off the top of my head that weren't there. But if you're ever in Atlanta, it's definitely worth the trip to go to the Center of Puppetry Arts. Me and Ken had a blast there. And in fact, for those on YouTube, if you bear with me a second, there was a picture I needed to pull up and see if I could show you guys here. Oh, well, I'll put it out. But we went and saw the puppet show. They made these puppets of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, these real, super high-end ones, and did a puppet show of the story. And we were waiting for it to start, and we had just got done in the gift shop, and Ken was sitting. They had turned like Big Bird's nest into like a couch. He was sitting in it. And then I just sat beside him, and we were sitting there thumbing our phones, and some lady from behind took a picture of us sitting in Big Bird's nest together, and we didn't know it. She came up to us at the puppet show and was like, "Hey, I don't want to sound like a weirdo or anything, but I took a picture of you guys without you knowing." And she showed it and laughed, and she texted it to me and things, and I need to get that up. But it was pretty funny. Just two middle-aged guys hanging out at Big Bird's nest. What more can you say? But man, we got Thanksgiving coming up here in the States. That's something that's probably something I'll talk to Jack about for sure, is Thanksgiving. See if he partakes in American Thanksgiving or what he does. I know a lot of people do. I think Adam tries to a little bit. But anyway, then we'll be into December, not next week, but the week after. It's rolling along, rolling along, and I can't believe it. It's like, it just seems like I started podcasting again just a few weeks ago, and it's been back in July, and we are here on the precipice of All-In Day, Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving in the States, and it's crazy. It's wild. There was something else I was going to tell you guys, but man, I cannot think of it. I'll think about it at the most opportune time and probably have to interject, but again, I should have wrote stuff down. This should be a professional show, but it's not. So, guys, I'm joined by Jack Ford of the Total Christmas Podcast, making his Christmas Clatter debut. Jack has one of the, if not the funniest Christmas podcasts. I always enjoy it. I always enjoy listening to what he has to say and his unique takes. Just one thing. Don't refer to it as the Ghost of Christmas Future. You can't say that around Jack. He gets triggered. And just don't put it in the comments. We just want to keep this a family-friendly show. So without any further ado, here is Jack Ford. Hey, Jack, how's it going?
I'm good. So thank you for having me on. I want to say I've been listening to your podcast long before I started mine, and I remember because I started listening to it a few months after you started doing it, and it was just coming up to Christmas, and I binged your show, and I just loved it, and I don't think you do it as much as you used to, but I loved your Christmas memories, and there was one that you actually let me play it on my show, and I must have listened to it like 4 or 5 times. The story about when you went to get a Christmas tree with your family, and the way you told the story was so relaxed and laid back. It just, I just found it. It's just that's what a lot of Christmas should be about. It's not well, a lot of it's fun and excitement and that sort of thing, but then it's also the cozy aspect. And your stories, they always give me like the Christmas cozy feels. Yeah.
Well,
so thank you so much for having me on. I'm truly honoured. You blessed my podcast last year by coming on, and this year I get to come on yours. Lucky me.
That's how it works. But I appreciate that. I quit sharing a lot of the Christmas memories because I start running out.
Problem. You've so many memories.
Yeah, there's only Christmas is always fun, but there's not every Christmas there's not something that's just absolutely memorable, and stuff. But actually, that story I've been working on it. I think I almost have it. I have it done. I think I just need to look at it again. I'm actually really considering turning that into a Christmas children's book.
Oh, you should.
Yeah. And so I've wrote it out more. I've had to change a few things to make it, because when you talk it, it's one thing versus when you read it, so I kind of took the transcript of that episode and kind of redid it a little bit to make it more readable, the readability to be a little bit higher, and probably kind of lower the reading level a little bit. So, be more of a children's book and things. So that's something I've been, kicking around here and there. So, yeah.
Yeah. Also the one about when I think you were going through a tough time and your kids decorated the tree.
Yeah.
That was also really classic. I love that one as well. Those are my 2 favorites.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I was going through a divorce, and my kids and my mom. I was living with my parents at the time. My 2 boys and my mom ended up decorating the tree for me, and it was just like it was kind of one of them moments where it's just like when you're going through a bunch of junk, it's just kind of one of those moments that just kind of bring you back to reality and get you recentered, and realize that the stress isn't worth all the stress. So, but yeah. So let's talk. I love Total Christmas Podcast. I love your sense of humor. What got
have you ever listened to it, Todd?
Once when you had me on there. So
you chose the right one to listen to.
Yeah,
awful. I've got to say. So well done for picking up a winner.
Yeah, no, I listened. But what got you started in wanting to do a Christmas podcast?
Oh, do you know what? I'm a gardener. I work on my own. I know you work on your own as a postal deliverer. You told me last year. What is it? A mail?
Yeah, letter carrier.
Letter carrier. Sorry, there we go.
Yeah.
So all day I'm on my own. So I just listen to podcasts non-stop, and I used to listen to I could do that, but I couldn't think of what sort of my niche was, because I think you need a niche if you want to sort of get any listeners, especially if you're not famous, because there's enough famous people out there doing it these days. So and I've always loved Christmas, and I thought, do you know what? I bet I'll be the first Christmas podcast out there. And then I'd look, and there was loads.
Yeah.
and I say loads actually. I think I just got just after the snowball had got its peak. So
Yeah.
because I was after you, and but I was just before Jerry with Totally Rad,
Yeah.
which I love reminding him of, because the name of his podcast is very similar to mine. Um, but yeah, so I thought, you know what, I love Christmas. I've always loved Christmas, and so I wanted to talk about Christmas. And what I try to do is have loads of different stuff in each episode, so that if you're bored with one segment, don't worry, we've got a new one coming along in a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. That's always fun to do, but it is challenging to do so many different segments because it's like
Yeah,
you got to keep so many irons in the fire.
I know.
And
Work. And the problem is
yeah.
sometimes stuff going on with the family, and I've got
Yeah.
because if your listeners aren't familiar, I um, often do an episode. I discuss different versions of A Christmas Carol,
Uh-huh.
and it means I have to watch them like two or three times to make my notes and see what stands out against other versions. And if it's a feature length one, then to watch it three times, I could be looking at nearly 6 hours just
Yeah.
watching. So, yeah, it does take up a lot of time. But then if I'm lucky, I've got a couple of people that send in segments, like Bob Baker from Festive Foreign Film Fans. He always
Uh-huh.
sends me 2 segments every episode, so that sort of helps me a lot to. And then I do the
Yeah.
quiz, which is pretty easy as well. The quiz
Yeah.
doesn't take too much research as well. You had to
Yeah.
go at the quiz, did you? Come on, what'd you score? 10, was it? 10 out of 10?
I can't remember. I can't. It might have been nine
Yeah,
out of
well,
10. There might have been more in there.
what? No, it was not 9.
I said, I don't know. I don't know what I got. I don't remember. I have to
Let's say
listen
it
to
was
that.
10.
I have to
Let's go
listen
with
to that
9.
episode again. But yeah, I had different segments for a while starting Christmas Clatter, and one of them was like the most wonderful talent of the year. You know how hard it was to get people to send me them singing or playing music or something. They just weren't.
Remember that? Yeah, of course you
Yes,
did. Yeah,
yeah.
I'm on
They
about that.
just
That
they
was
just
it was good though when people did send stuff in.
yeah,
That's the problem.
yeah.
Is you want people to get involved,
Uh huh.
but they don't, but when they do, it makes the show that much better.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like I need to get people involved to make because people really enjoy it when other people are involved. But then it's like, how do you get people involved? And
yeah.
it is a lot to put yourself out there. I had Charles send in some drawings and stuff, and that was cool. And then I think a couple people sent him some songs and things, which was
I remember some music. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, which is probably the easiest thing for podcast only. Which I was doing at the time. But so here in the States, we are 2 days away from Thanksgiving. How much do you celebrate Thanksgiving, or if any at all, there in the UK?
me.
Yeah.
I've got the wife in the kitchen as we speak, killing the turkey.
Yeah.
She's doing that. You might be able to hear the squawking in the back. No, you know what? I don't think. I think you could easily not know what was going on.
Yeah.
I, yeah, I think it's only listening to Christmas podcasts that
Uh-huh.
I've become aware of when it is, because most Christmas podcasters are in the States, and
Yeah.
most of them talk about Thanksgiving as being the real start of Christmas. Like, some
Hmm.
people say it's after Halloween, but really, once you've got Thanksgiving out of the way, then bang, that's this Christmas all the way. And
Uh-huh.
that's when I've never done anything towards Thanksgiving. In the UK, we have Harvest Festival,
Uh-huh.
which is, most people wouldn't be aware of that. It's something you sort of celebrate when you're in little school, um, and you have like a church service where you sort of bring in food for the poor and that sort of thing. But that's
Right.
about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
don't have Thanksgiving at all.
Yeah.
Don't even don't even watch Trains, Planes, and Automobiles.
Well, you should. That's a great movie.
I do, yeah, they should show it, but they don't. But
Yeah.
maybe I'll try. Maybe that's how I'll celebrate Thanksgiving this year. It's
Yeah.
2 days away. Right, 2 days.
Yep. You'll be on Thursday.
Day off? You working?
I actually have vacation all this week, annual
Oh
leave.
wow,
Yeah. I finally have enough seniority that I was able to grab this week to be off. So,
that's cool.
and I
So you'll be elbowing old ladies out of the way on Black Friday.
that's the plan. I do that anyway. I'll go in uniform before work starts. We I am a
You said-
black. Me and my wife are Black Friday professionals. We we know what we're doing and we know all the trade secrets and we're in and out, get what we want and have a good time. So
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, it's crazy. I think
we
Adam
do.
from
That's one thing. We do have Black Friday.
yeah,
So thanks to the states, yeah. But do you know what? It's. I think last Friday, a lot of places had already started Black
yeah,
Friday a week in advance, and then
yeah,
I got an email today from a company I bought a climbing frame off, and they were referring to it as Black Week. Yeah, but I don't think I've ever got involved in Black Friday. Actually,
yeah,
I'm too
yeah,
scared of those ladies elbowing me.
yeah. That's true. And Steven says he's in the UK and they have a Texan on his team.
Beachy, good old Beachy. I've met
Yeah,
Beachy. Me and him were on
yeah,
Totally Rad together. Totally Rad Christmas with
yeah,
Adam as well.
yeah. He's got a Texan throwing him a real life Thanksgiving party, so that should be great.
Good
So
to have you on board, Beachy.
yeah,
I promoted um he did a Christmas mashup. It was fantastic last Christmas, and I put it
uh-huh,
on, played a bit of it on my show. Did you
yeah,
hear it? Did he send it
yeah,
to you?
yeah.
Good.
I don't know if he sent it to me or not. I don't know, but he might have. I get some emails. I get lots of emails, and I don't always go through them. You know that. So, but
Ignorance. Isn't that
yeah,
ignorance, kids? Do a
yeah,
thing like that.
yeah. So if you ever need to get a hold of me, it's probably better just to send me a direct message on Instagram, so I'll see it
Well, we
there.
can post a letter, but I've heard the postal service in your area is not the best. Is that right, Todd?
Except for the people that live on my route, they get the best service. No, actually, we've been, to be honest, we've been struggling. We are short carriers. In the city I live in, there's 36 routes, and there's times we only have 25 carriers to
Oh
get them
wow!
done. Yeah, so
Oh,
it's
that's why you
been
work in these late days then.
yeah, yep, yep. Uh, but yeah, you should try Thanksgiving. I really think I think you dig it.
Don't get me wrong. I like eating.
Yeah,
I love it.
yeah,
I do it every day, Todd. That's how much I like eating.
yeah. Every
Sometimes I
day.
do it all the day.
Yeah,
Frequently, I do it 3 times a day.
yeah,
There's been times where I've eaten 5 or 6 times a day. I
yeah,
love eating,
yeah,
and I'm very grateful for my life.
yeah,
So there's no reason I've got
yeah,
apart from it's a work day. Maybe I should, yeah, maybe I should talk the
yeah.
wife into getting us a turkey for Thanksgiving.
So every time the rock hits the gym, you have a meal. That's what you're saying.
That's, yeah, yeah, that's what I check his
Yeah,
Instagram,
yeah.
and when he's yeah, I want the one with the marshmallows on top. Is that sweet potato pie with the marshmallows on top?
That's
Is that
sweet
what it
potato
is?
casserole. Yes,
A
you will like that.
casserole. Yeah, the
Yeah,
casseroles we have tend not to have marshmallows in.
yeah, yeah. Um, when my mom makes it, she puts pecans on top, like a,
Oh,
and
okay.
yeah, and they're kind of like they call, I guess I'll call them spiced pecans. They got like cinnamon and stuff on them, and it's really good. It's really good.
I did one year try making my own pumpkin pie.
Yeah,
Because that's not something you can buy in the UK. I can't remember. Did I bought a pumpkin? I bought a pumpkin and I followed the recipe. I think it was with condensed milk and loads of spices. Wasn't that good?
yeah,
And I'm not blaming pumpkin pie for that. I'm blaming me for that. It was a shame because you hear about it all the time,
yeah,
but it's not something you see ever in the UK. And a friend of mine was talking about making one, and I thought, well, if he can do it, I'll give it a shot.
yeah.
I ate most of it. The wife didn't like it at all. Mm.
Pumpkin pie is definitely good. You know, we have dressing. You know, which is just basically smashed up bread soaked in gravy.
Yeah.
You know, you know how it is. But uh, I've tried a few things from the UK over the years that I hadn't, like figgy pudding and mincemeat pies. And
Yeah, mince pies. You guys call them mincemeat pies.
yeah,
Yeah. Was it a big one,
I
or was
I,
it like the
I had it
ones?
was the little ones. That's all I could find.
It was. Yeah,
Was
that's
the
it. That's
little
what we
ones,
have. Yeah,
and
because
those
I
things.
think in the states, I think in the states you do get the big mincemeat pies as they call them, but
Yeah,
yeah, the ones in the UK are all tiny, hand-sized
yeah,
little pies.
yeah. There's a store here called World Market. I found them in the little mince pies, and those are legit delicious. I
Oh,
really
you liked
enjoyed
them?
those. I loved them.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah,
Ah, that is good.
yeah. The figgy
Yeah.
pudding was fine.
Yeah,
The
I
figgy,
don't know what happened.
yeah,
I just, yeah. This year I've got to make up for it.
yeah, yeah. The figgy pudding was, it was fine. You know, I ate it, but it wasn't near as good as the mince pies. The mince pies have become a thing I look out for to get now.
Yeah, we don't call it figgy pudding though. No
Yeah,
one calls it figgy
they
pudding.
don't.
I
That's
think
what they call it here. You know.
referred to, yeah, by people in the US
Hmm.
as figgy pudding, but we call it just Christmas pudding, or
Yeah.
sometimes people call it plum pudding.
Yeah.
Um, but my mum makes it's like a really rich one. She does it properly, like a month. She's probably made it already,
Hmm.
and she leaves it in a bowl up on top of the refrigerator to soak and do what it's got to do. And then on Christmas Day, it's so strong. My wife doesn't like it at all. My kids wouldn't
Hmm.
go near it, but I love it. And then one year, I can't remember why, but my mum, I don't know what happened. Oh no, she went to Christmas dinner at my brother's, so I didn't get to
Hmm.
go round for blooming Christmas dinner. So I bought one from Tesco's, which is sort of like, well, I don't know, Walmart or no, not Walmart. It's a supermarket.
Uh-huh.
It was naff. I was gutted. I wish I hadn't bought it because it tasted nothing like my mum's. And I think that's the thing. If it's not my mum's, I'm not saying my mum's a great cook, but she does make a great Christmas pudding.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. You get that nostalgia factor because that's the one you've always had, even as a kid and stuff. And it's just something about that one that just stays, you know, in the back of your mind for the holiday season. And, I'm that way with like snickerdoodles. It's like snickerdoodles aren't really a Christmas cookie, but every time I eat them, I think of Christmas because we always had them.
You've got your Christmas cookie day coming up, has it? Have you? When is it this
Yes.
year?
December the 8th is when it is. And so
And
here,
your mum, she has an open house and anyone can
yes,
go around and have cookies.
yes.
Did you hear that, kids? If you live near Todd's mum, get a free cookie.
Yeah. Anybody's welcome to come. Anybody from around the world can come. Just got to show up and eat cookies.
I'll book a
We're going to have,
flight. I'll do anything for free food.
yeah. Yeah. We're going to have 28 different kinds of cookies this year.
Do you
So,
help make them, Todd?
I quality control is what I do.
That's the most important job.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, somebody's got to ensure consistency and quality, you know? Yeah.
I don't get snickerdoodles. Explain.
Uh, boy, they're just, they're kind of a plain round cookie, but they're just seasoned with cinnamon and sugar.
Oh, is
And,
that it?
yeah, and that's it.
I always assumed it had something to do with Snickers.
Nope.
So it's not. It's not. There's no peanuts. There's no
Nope.
like caramel. No
Nope.
chocolate.
Nope.
So what is it again? Just a round
It's
cookie.
just like a basically a sugar cookie, but um, you roll it in cinnamon and sugar and bake
Yeah,
it. Yeah, real simple,
that's it.
real simple to make, super delicious, and I think they're so good because the um, just because it's so simple. It's one of those cookies that it's real hard to make a bad one, but when you make a good one, it is like head and shoulders above everything else.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
yeah, yeah, real simple, but I they're my favorite. Of course, like classic chocolate chip or oatmeal with raisins and things. But yeah, we even have a cookie from the Depression era, from the Great Depression that my grandpa loved, called an orange slice cookie. It's a no bake cookie made with orange slice candies and nuts and stuff, and that's always a real popular one. I
Yeah.
might. We have a speaking of marshmallows, we have a marshmallow sandwich cookie, which is basically two chocolate cookies, with a melted marshmallow smashed in between like a sandwich. So
Oh wow.
yeah.
You know what? The Christmas cookies aren't a massive thing in the UK. Like the girls, my girls, they'll
Hmm.
make Christmas biscuits or cookies,
Hmm.
and then but it's just a standard biscuit mixed cookie mixture with icing on, so they're decorated like a Christmas tree or snowman or something.
Uh-huh.
But it's not a big thing. I think it's more that's something in the States. It's much bigger than in the UK. Having said that, I do eat biscuits most days
Yeah.
or cookies.
Yeah. I don't know why that is. To me, cookies are like the far superior dessert. It's like you don't even need a plate or any utensils. You could just grab one and go, and then you can like grab one and then sneak one in your pocket and eat it in secret. So, but but I don't know. I've just always been, I love pies and cakes and all that stuff too, but for some reason, just something about cookies, you know, and yeah, and but yeah, we. So, what would be your classic Christmas dessert then? That is it your
Well,
Christmas pudding?
it is Christmas pudding.
Mm-hmm.
I did do a segment about trifle.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get trifle over there? I tell you what, there was an episode of Friends where someone, I want to say Rachel, made a trifle, but she got like 2 pages of the book stuck together, so she ended up making it was like a trifle mixed with a shepherd's pie. Um, so everyone hated it apart from Joey, and Joey ate
Right.
all of it.
Right.
But trifle was like it's cream on top, and then you get custard under the cream, and then underneath that it's like jelly with
Uh huh.
biscuits in the jelly, or no sponge fingers in the jelly. Um, and my mum makes one of those most years, but the only person who eats it is my wife. So she dishes up Christmas pudding, dessert. So I have the Christmas pudding. My dad normally has Christmas pudding and a couple of mince pies. What you do is you take the lid off the pie and you put either some whipped cream or some ice cream in there, and then eat it like you're eating a biscuit. Um, and then my wife would have a slice of the trifle, and then when we're leaving, my mum would give her the rest of the trifle. So she's got trifle for a few days.
Oh, that's
Everyone
nice.
wins.
Everybody
Yeah.
wins.
So those are the main puddings. Is a trifle, a Christmas pudding, and mince pies. I can't. Yeah, you get Christmas cake as well, which is almost like a wedding cake. Do you have
Uh huh.
Christmas cake? No,
Uh,
it's very. It's a bit like a fruit cake, but it's got a lot of it's alcohol in it as well, and they have marzipan and thick icing around it. My mum always makes one of those, but I don't think I've ever eaten a whole slice of it. I'm not a fan.
yeah. Yeah. No, cakes usually aren't a big deal around here for Christmas time. I do know some people that make like a happy birthday Jesus cake, but it's just basically a regular birthday cake, and, but no, here in the States, cookies are the big dessert or,
Well,
um,
that's after you've had. So normally you'd have turkey, would you? Not just on Thanksgiving, but on Christmas Day.
yeah, turkey or
And
ham.
then put
Mhm.
in, you just have biscuits, cookies. Is that right?
Yeah. Or pies. Pies are always big. Where
Oh,
I
okay.
yeah, where I live, think there's minimal difference between Thanksgiving dinner and Christmas dinner. Very minimal. There are more people that will do roast beef on Christmas than they would, on Thanksgiving. Um, or prime rib, I should say, not roast beef, prime rib. And but it's very minimal. Like we'll have turkey and ham and Thanksgiving and pies, and there won't be very many cookies there. But then Christmas, there'll probably be a little bit of turkey, but mostly ham, and then some pies, but mostly cookies.
Yeah.
And then the sides are kind of all the same kind of things. But yeah, but other places it kind of varies. But here in the South of the states, it's kind of more or less the same kind of meal. I think that's why Thanksgiving's so big. It's like a good warm up, for
Right.
for Christmas. But yeah,
Did you guys have Brussels sprouts then on your Christmas
uh,
dinner?
no, we won't do Brussels sprouts. We'll eat them any other time of
Do
the
you ever
year.
have? Do you have them like any time of the year?
Yeah, any time of the year. Yep.
Oh, you do.
Yeah, yeah. I love Brussels sprouts.
I don't think I've ever eaten a Brussels sprout not
Yeah,
in December. I don't think
really.
that's ever happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what I had some the other day? Where was that? Oh, there's a local carvery. Do you have carveries at all in the States?
Not that I'm aware of.
It's like a restaurant. It's like almost like a buffet, but they carve the meat for you, and then you help
Uh
yourself to sides. It's normally like a big roast dinner,
huh.
and they had Brussels sprouts there already. So that was November. So that was probably the first time I've had a Brussels sprout in November. You can't buy them the rest of the year. There might be places you could, but I don't think I've ever seen one in the shops. Yeah, it's just a Christmas thing. That is
Yeah.
Brussels sprouts. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you can actually Red Lobster serves Brussels sprouts as one of their sides. So if you go to a Red Lobster to eat, which is a big seafood chain here
Mm-hmm.
in the States, you can get soy and ginger Brussels sprouts year round. So
The ginger. Oh,
yeah, and
sounds nice.
but a lot of times my wife will buy them and then like quarter them and then roast them with olive oil and salt. You know, And
Yeah. See, my mum just boils the life out of them,
hmm
and they're just grey green blobs on your plate. They're just awful. My wife, she'll roast them, and then they
yeah,
taste all right. Chop up
yeah,
a bit of bacon in there as well, bit of
hmm
olive oil or something. That's then they're more
hmm
palatable.
yeah. Do you guys do deviled eggs?
No, but I've heard of them. Is that where
Yeah.
you take out the yolk and you do
Uh-huh.
something to it and put it back in?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, they're delicious. My wife makes jalapeno bacon deviled eggs that are to die for. And
Yeah. No, it's not. Again, I've heard.
I-
I'm trying to think where I'd heard of them,
yeah.
but no,
Well,
it's not something.
it sounds like you're gonna have to come live with me for a year or so I can get you educated on all this stuff.
On these culinary delights. Yeah,
yeah.
you can come over here and have a biscuit.
Yeah. I'll eat a biscuit, fish and chips. You know. So, but Stephen asked earlier in the chat. He said something about he was wondering if you're ever going to run out of Christmas carols to watch. Yeah.
I don't think so
Yeah.
because I don't do them every episode. I do about 24 episodes, 25 episodes a year,
Uh huh.
and I don't do it every episode. So say I do maybe 17, 18 versions a year.
Yeah.
There's hundreds out there, and people send ones to me that I'd never even heard of. Plus, also every year you're getting 2 or 3 new ones as well. So if I live to be 100 and I keep the podcast going, then I might start to run out. But for the time being, I've got plenty of episodes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Gas.
No.
Sitting there drinking a can of Dr Pepper,
Oh
burping
yeah.
into your mic.
Oh yeah. That's all right.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
Just that was one of the things right from the start when I decided I want to do a podcast. I really wanted to talk about versions of A Christmas Carol because there's so many out there, and there's so many that I love, and there's also so many that are really naff, really
yeah.
naff.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what's your favorite overall Christmas carol? Which
Muppets,
version? Muppets.
Muppets, yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
It's a lot of people say it's like really close to the book, and it is to a degree.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there are other versions that are closer, but it's so festive. Whereas a lot of
Yeah.
the others can be a bit dark and a bit dismal. The joy that's in it and the
Mm-hmm.
humour, and it just and yet they still use a lot of the script from the book as well. Plus, Michael Caine is I think the best Scrooge. He just really commits to the role.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about it is just glory. And when I watch it, every time I just enjoy it as much as the previous time. I don't think I'll ever get bored of it. And also, every time I watch it, I fall in love with Belle every single time.
Yeah.
She's just the woman that's so beautiful. She was the perfect choice. She's got the way she looks at Scrooge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, also anything with Kermit in. I love Kermit and
Yeah.
Robin. He's the
Yeah.
best. Tiny Tim.
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, I also like Scrooge. In the UK, it's just called A Christmas Carol, I think. But in the States, I think when it was released, it was called Scrooge.
Uh huh.
And in the UK, I think now they call it A Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim. So
Uh huh.
every year, near Christmas, when my wife goes out, I'll sit at home in the dark and watch the Alistair Sim version while I drink mulled wine.
Uh huh.
Um, but the version I've got, they gave it away years ago with a newspaper. They used to give away DVDs on a Sunday with the newspapers.
Yeah.
And the version I've got is the colorized version.
Oh.
I know. And I feel a
Mm-hmm.
little bit like, I don't know. Normally I'm a purist and I've got this
Yeah.
colorized version. And the problem is last year, because it's on YouTube, the black and white version.
Yeah.
And last year I thought, do you know what? I'm going to watch the black and white version. And then when it came to it, I couldn't do it. I ended up watching the colorized one again. The shame. Shame on me.
Yeah. Well, we can edit this part out if you need to.
Don't let
No.
people know my guilt, my
Yeah.
guilty secret.
Yeah. Now, have you found a version that like really surprised you because maybe you didn't know it, but it was legit pretty good?
Oh no, no. I think I'm aware of all the. I tell you what's the one I'm just either next episode or the episode after.
Uh
I've
huh.
got Ed Daly. I think you've met Ed Daly. Have you? He
Yep.
wrote the Christmas book.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
he was on your show, wasn't he?
Yeah. He
Yeah,
was good guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So every year, the last 3 years, he's come on and we've talked about a different version of A Christmas Carol. And the
Mhm.
one he brought on this time, I'd completely forgotten about. I'm going to talk about this sadly in my episode, so that everyone here is getting a sneak peek.
Wow.
it's a version, an episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia,
Uh-huh.
and it's I've completely forgotten about it. I would have watched it because I've watched every episode, and that one I found it very, very funny. It's one of the loosest versions of A Christmas Carol, but there's some real treats in that episode. If you don't mind a bit of swearing
Yeah.
and a bit of Danny DeVito's nudity, it's a really good, really fun Christmas version, and it's a good Christmas episode of a sitcom as well. So that one, yeah, when Ed recommended it, it did sort of jump out
Yeah.
as being good. I thought, yeah, generally a lot of the versions you get what you there's one that I watched on Amazon 2 years ago, and I thought, goodness me, I'm going to cover this on the show, and it's not free anymore because it was on Prime, and now I've got to pay for it. It was that bad. I thought I'm not paying for that,
Hmm.
so I've got to wait for it to be free again that I can actually cover it. But it was just horrendous. One of the, I think a lot of it was phoned on some geezer's phone. I think he'd actually got his mate to film it on his phone. I think
Yeah.
that's what happened.
Yeah. Well, I'll put you on the spot for a minute. Who do you think should play like the next great Ebenezer Scrooge in a feature length version of a Christmas Carol?
Oh, you should have primed me for this,
I should have.
Todd.
Should,
My brain is the size of a pea, and I've got to delve into it and try and figure out who the best.
yeah.
Have you got any ideas?
I,
Have you got any ideas?
I have a few. I have a few. I think Tom Hanks would probably knock it out of the park.
No, he's too nice. I wouldn't
Yeah.
trust him as being nasty. I
Yeah.
could,
How about
I he could be a bit end.
Steve Carell?
Um,
You know, but the one I
I don't
want to
know.
see, the one I want to see, Idris Elba.
Ah, do you know what? The last one I covered, it was a black
Uh-huh.
Ebenezer Scrooge.
I
It's
think,
African American. Is
yeah,
that the right? Yeah.
yeah.
That was actually it was modern day. I say modern. It
Hmm.
was in the 80s. That was actually quite an interesting one.
Yeah,
It was the guy that played Benson, whose name I've forgotten now.
yeah. I think
But yeah,
Idris Elba would be great because he can be real stern and cranky just looking at him. You know, he always kind of looks like he's upset about something, but he can also be, he's just a great actor anyway. But I think he would
yeah,
do.
he could do anything really,
Yeah.
Idris Elba. You're
Hmm.
right. You know what? I'm thinking Liam Neeson.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think he did a good job. Maybe a bit too tall though, but then I don't know if that's a problem or not. I'm not sure.
Probably not. Probably not. Yeah, he would be good. He would be good, and he could make it straight to DVD too. And you know, but yeah,
Yeah,
Liam Neeson would be good. Um, man, it kind of some of the problem with thinking which actors would be is a lot of the actors I think would do it because they're younger. They're all old now. You know, Steven's saying Hugh Grant. So
that is actually a
yeah.
pretty. I think Hugh Grant read. There's an audiobook version on Audible that
Uh-huh.
Hugh Grant read, and I think it's half decent. I haven't listened to it. I think Scott
Yeah.
Newman did, and I think he
Yeah.
told me about it. Yeah, that's a good call, Stephen. Well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah. Well
I
done,
like
Stephen.
that.
Yeah. I have
Yeah,
I
my
have the
Liam
Patrick
Neeson. Yeah.
I have the Patrick Stewart audio book of it, him reading it. So, which is nice.
Yeah, I'd covered his version of A Christmas Carol back in I think it was January. I think it might have been the first one I did this year. That's a good version, but it's a bit dull. That's what's so good about the Muppets one. It's got a bit more colour to it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Just something about the Muppets. Um, you know, just the humor. It's like the song 12 Days of Christmas. I just don't enjoy, but their version of it, I'll sit through and smile the whole time listening to it. Just something
I
about
tell you
their
what,
take on things is
I tell
is
you what,
wonderful.
The 12 Days of Christmas is a boring song, but if you get a whole bunch of people together,
Uh-huh.
like a family party, I tell you what, when your cookie party, you want to
Uh-huh.
get everyone involved, put them in bunches with the 12 days, and everyone shouts out their thing. I've been in a few pubs at Christmas where they've done that, and it gets, excuse me, and it gets everyone involved, and it just makes the song that much more fun.
Right.
So I was never a fan before, but these days, yeah, I really like it when it's a joyful event that everyone gets involved in.
Yeah. Yeah. It really is. How about the um, Tommy Lee Jones? You think he would be a good Scrooge?
Yeah, he would actually, wouldn't he? My concern is you've got to you need them to be able to transform and be really happy at the end,
Yeah.
because certain versions, what they still like. I was not a huge fan of the George C. Scott version
Mm,
because I felt like he still seemed too stern at the end. He didn't seem playful. He just seemed a bit less miserable. The one with Guy Pearce as well, that was hideous,
hmm
and his like transformation, really, he just still seemed like he was a git, but just, and he sacked Bob Cratchit in that version as well.
Right.
So that was just yeah, that was a terrible one. But um, if you got Tommy Lee Jones, I think I think he could pull it off as being happy at the end of it. That
Yeah.
doesn't, yeah.
Yeah. Robert De Niro would kind of probably fall in that not happy enough
He might,
category.
yeah. He doesn't
Y-
often play jovial, does he? Or
Yeah. Plus,
joyful.
two, he would probably look like Robert De Niro playing Scrooge, which
Yeah.
might be funny on its own. Yeah, you know, but I'd like a see a proper Englishman do it. You know, I think that would be best. How about Tom Hiddleston? Is he too young?
No, actually, maybe in a few years he wouldn't do a bad job of it. But I'm not a fan of Tom Hiddleston
Yeah.
for my sins. I shouldn't say that actually because I don't dislike anything he's done
hmm
particularly. But for some reason, I just, yeah, actually, yeah. When he's older, I
hmm
think I still felt like Guy Pearce was too young, but
Yeah.
he probably wasn't. I
Yeah.
just, because I'm getting older,
Yeah.
I feel like Scrooge should be at least 20 years older than me.
Yeah.
And in a few years' time, if they're 20 years older than me, they'll all be dead. So
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe it'll have to be someone my age
Yeah.
soon, I suppose.
Maybe Daniel
Yeah.
Craig.
No, I don't see him as being happy though. I need the
Yeah, he
joy
don't.
at the end. That's what um, Michael Caine does so well
Yeah.
in his version because he is a real miserable miser. But
hmm
the transformation is phenomenal when he's just a completely changed character. And I think the fact that he's singing that makes a big difference because you don't
Yeah.
often see Scrooge sing when he's happy. And when you see him singing, actually you do see the real joy and playfulness in him. I think, yeah,
Yeah. It's tough. I always wished that um, the United States version of The Office had like a Christmas Carol episode because I think that cast would have made one funny version of A Christmas Carol.
yeah.
You
They
know.
would, wouldn't they? I'm
hmm
surprised they didn't do that. Actually, they made enough episodes. They
Yeah.
could have went in there.
Yeah. What's one more? You know. But
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah. I think
I'm
that would have been
surprised
that would have been
they didn't do
hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. It had Stanley as the ghost of Christmas yet to come. I think that would
That's
have been.
it. You got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
not future. Well,
Yeah. No future. We're not going to say it. I love that
it's,
you're. I love that you're a
the thing,
purist.
I am a purist, but I think he does talk about I will hold. I will. Was it? I will live in the past, the present, and the future. So he does say future.
Uh huh.
Scrooge does. And
Yeah.
actually, I'm just trying to think in the book if anyone does refer to the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Because the ghost of Christmas yet to come doesn't speak.
Right.
Maybe Scrooge calls him that, and then later on talks about the future. I should know this. I've read the book so often.
Yeah.
You had to read the book, Todd.
I have, but I can't remember exactly what he says, and I think it's because I've seen so many versions and Ghost of Christmas Future and all that used so much that it kind of gets cloudy. But I kind of like that because to me, even though it's really nuanced, there is a difference between yet to come and future. You know,
Aye.
yeah, I couldn't tell you what it was, but there's something brings different about it. You know, um,
I
because
think what's funny is I've watched so many different versions of A Christmas Carol.
mhm,
Sometimes I'll watch a version and a character will say something, and I think, oh, they took that straight from the book.
mhm,
And then I realised, no, they didn't. They just took it from a different version of A Christmas Carol,
yeah,
not the book. It's like they're actually stealing from other versions of A Christmas Carol, but not the actual source material.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess kind of what I'm getting at is when you say future, future is like this undefined time that's could be way ahead of where you're at, but yet to come means it's a lot closer than that.
Oh, I
They're
never thought of that,
yeah,
actually. I think I just like hearing people say what it says in the book.
yeah.
I think, yeah, yeah,
But
I
yeah,
like the book.
I get it. I actually have been on a played in a Christmas Carol musical a couple of times. As
Oh, wow. Who did you play?
I played, gosh, I can't remember his name. The guy, some beggar that owed Scrooge some money. Jenkins.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just had a couple lines, and a lot of singing and dancing, and and things, and it was a lot a bit different than the book, um, and but it was a lot of fun. I actually had to take a comedy pratfall. Everybody likes to see
How did
the
you play?
yeah,
Was
everybody likes to see the big guy fall down. So. Uh, but we played moochers, people that owed Scrooge money, and we had this song where Scrooge was coming to collect money and all this stuff, and I offer him up like hot broth, to kind of soften him up to give me extension, and then all of us are like in this crowd trying to hide from him, and then uh, one of the other moochers who was my wife pushes me towards Scrooge, and then I like fall down and then like crawl away into the crowd, to get away. So yeah, and so we did that for a few years, and it was a lot of fun.
oh, cool.
So
It's good doing something like
oh yeah,
that. Sorry. It's when getting involved with something like that, it helps with the build up to Christmas because you get all the
hmm
rehearsals,
yeah,
and then when you actually put the show on, everyone's there together. That's the best thing about Christmas is
yeah,
having big events where there's lots of people together, all celebrating and enjoying themselves together. That's one of the
yeah,
things I like the most.
yeah.
Yeah,
Our other Christmas Carol expert, Art from Cozy Christmas podcast, is in here. He said he checked Scrooge refers to him once as a ghost of Christmas future.
oh, there we go.
Yeah, and then he refers to him several times as the ghost of Christmas yet to come. So
Yeah, that was it.
yeah, Christmas yet to come's a lot cooler name. So
I think so. And
yeah,
I think the problem I've got is it just seems lazy
yeah,
when they call him Ghost of Christmas Futures. People won't know what you mean if you say yet to come. Why not? That's the other thing that gets me is you've got these versions that are really similar, but then for some reason they'll just change the odd word here and there when they've got the
uh,
dialogue. And I think just stick to the dialogue, and you'd be the perfect version. But they
right,
just choose not to do that. Yeah, I
yeah,
covered a couple this year. One in particular, a cartoon version that was almost exact. They'd kept in nearly every scene from the book, and yet they insisted on just changing the dialogue just to dumb it down a little bit. I'm not going to give you examples, but actually, I will. Instead of saying losing your situation, Scrooge would say you'll lose your job. Just
hmm
something like that. No
yeah,
need,
yeah.
no need.
Yep. Peter Jackson needs to direct the next Scrooge movie. That way, it'd be
That'd
like
be good.
4.5 hours long.
Yeah, the problem is the Alistair Sim version is a good hour and I think hour and 40 odd. So it might be a bit less than that. Might be a bit more. They add a lot of stuff that's not in the book, and
Yeah,
I don't like that. I think if you're going to do it as close to the source material as possible, I don't think you can get much more than an hour and 20 minutes, really.
yeah, yeah. What did you think of the movie The Man Who Invented Christmas?
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah,
I did. I liked it. Yeah, I don't imagine it's particularly historical,
yeah.
but I like the concept behind it, and I like Dan Stevens, and I
Mhm.
thought, oh, was it Von Trapp, the guy of Sound of Music, played Scrooge, didn't he?
Oh, Christopher Plummer.
Boom, that's
Hmm.
him. Yeah, yeah, I thought he was good as well. It was a
Yeah,
good, yeah. He's a bit old now, but he would have been a good. He would have done a good Scrooge, I think.
yeah. Well, he got that role last minute because of oh, what's his name? Kevin Spacey got into all that trouble.
Oh, is that
Hmm.
right? I knew there was. I remember now there was going to be
Yeah,
someone else, but I didn't know it was Kevin
hmm
Spacey.
yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey, who's great in every role that he plays except the role of real life. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm,
But yeah, Kevin Spacey was supposed to be Scrooge, which would have been just as great. But I think Chris Plummer knocked it out of the park on that. So
yeah. In that one,
hmm
yeah. And it was nice to learn a bit more about Dickens's actual history, not just the
hmm
writing of it, but what he was going through at the time and that sort of thing. It's a very
yeah,
interesting man, Charles Dickens was. Very interesting.
yeah. It seemed like it. It seemed like he was. I guess that kind of um, artist mentality, of kind of being
Yes. Yeah.
fast and loose with money, and then just having strokes of genius. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And his dad was fast and loose with money as well, which is why
Mhm.
Dickens felt so much empathy to the poor because he ended up being in I think it's one of the workhouses that he talks about in the books.
Yeah, yeah. How about Andrew Lincoln? Think he would play Scrooge?
I don't know. Actually, I think he could. Yeah, I think I think he could play miserable and also quite happy as well.
hmm
Yeah, I like
Yeah,
Andrew Lincoln. He was in
yeah.
This Life. Did you get This Life over there?
No,
No,
no.
it's a great show. Great
We
show.
only know Andrew Lincoln from The Walking Dead.
And Love Actually.
Yes, and that. Yeah. So, how about another last name I'll throw out there for Scrooge? Um, Ewan McGregor.
Yeah, I can see him committing to it quite well, and I can see him doing both sides as well. You know, the happy and the
Yeah,
miserable. Yeah, that's a good
yeah,
one. I like that. And
yeah.
he's probably about the right age now. I think for some reason I've got it in my head that Scrooge was 53, but that must be a version of the film where a version where you find out because sometimes on the gravestone it shows you the year he's born and the year he
Yeah,
dies, so you can work out how old they have him as.
yeah.
And I'd say yeah, 50s. I like yeah, because sometimes he's like really really old, and
hmm
you're thinking, well, he's when you've got the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come, he ain't got many Christmases left either way.
Yeah,
Whether he's
yeah,
evil or not. So
yeah,
you want something a bit younger. I think Michael Caine was I think mid to late 50s, wouldn't he?
yeah,
When he played, I think
yeah.
yeah
Because it's
he was
yeah. You
yeah.
don't want Christmas is yet to come, and then it's like 2 years later, he's gone.
So peaceful in your sleep. Yeah,
Yeah,
old
yeah,
age.
yeah. I think that would work. Of course, then of course, even now, 53 is not as old as it used to be. You
No,
know,
that's true. Yeah, that
I don't
is
know.
true.
I don't know if that's just because I'm getting older and I'm closer to that than I am, 33. But um, I just it seems like people in general are look and seem younger at 53 than they used to.
Aye.
Yeah. So
Well, I
yeah,
think the other thing is you've got to have plenty of years because they talk about at the end of the book. It says that he became known as a great man, as great a man as of, the city of London had ever known, or the
yeah,
great city.
yeah. So you gotta
And
have
if he's
20
like,
years.
he's got 3 years left,
Yeah,
people going to get to spread the word of what a great guy he is. So,
yeah.
yeah,
They definitely
yeah,
need
I think
good 20 years for that. I would think.
at least, yeah.
hmm Yeah, definitely, definitely. So I'll ask you this: what's one since doing your podcast and doing all this Christmas podcast craziness? What's one thing that's kind of surprised you about it all?
How few listeners I get, Todd. Bearing in mind that my podcast is a work of art and a
Yeah.
work of genius
Yes.
combined,
Yes.
the fact that I've only got 3 listeners or 4 on a good day
hmm
is the bit that surprised me
Well,
the
you got
most.
5 on that episode. I was on
Yeah, I
because I
did
listened
actually.
twice. I
Most
know.
listened to One
Yeah.
of the most listened to ones. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
chuffed with that. My 5 listeners. Yeah. So there's that.
Uh huh.
But I don't know what else has surprised me about it. I think it's nice the friends I've made,
Yeah.
like meeting your good self, of
hmm
course. And then when I first started, because I went like 3 or 4 episodes, I didn't have a single listener. I was quite happy with that because I sort of knew that was going to happen because I wasn't really putting myself out there. I just
Uh-huh.
was making this podcast. Um, and then Dwayne Bailey from Tinsel Tunes was kind enough to mention my podcast, and then it sort of started snowballing. And that's when I first met Scott Newman. And every year, Scott and I talk. He was in the latest episode with Dwayne, and yeah, it's nice to share emails with Scott and listen to his podcasts. And he does segments for the show occasionally. He talks about the real St. Nicholas, which is really interesting. If you like, he'll read out stories from the past of the real St. Nicholas. Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know many people in the States. I never have, but now I do because I've got people that email me. Out of my 3 listeners, I've got a few friends and a lovely lady called Shelley Arnold, who makes a fantastic Christmas village every year that I've been doing the podcast. At Christmas, she'll come on the show and she'll give us a guided tour of the camera on her laptop and show us all the things she's added. And it's huge, this Christmas village. And she's just a delight. And her husband, Frank, and my girls, they love seeing it as well. And then only this evening, my little girl was saying, are we going to get to see that lady with the Christmas village again? So yeah, that's what I like. That's the best bit. That's definitely the best bit is the people I've met. You know, and what's great about the Christmas podcast community is people that like Christmas are generally pretty nice people. I mean, I'm the exception, but everyone else seems just really friendly and delightful. And it's just so all the people you meet are just friendly and delightful people. It is a great community, and it is nice to have met all these wonderful people, and not just in the States as well. I've got listeners in Denmark. That's one of the 3 listeners, and Australia as well. Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people don't know this, but Jack is the first person that was on the naughty list to start a Christmas podcast.
I was. Yeah, got a lump of coal. Yeah. Still got that lump of.
So, but since we all welcome you in, I tell you what though, the Christmas podcast group is a ruthless bunch, especially if they like you. They are ruthless. But yeah, man, I've enjoyed Total Christmas Podcast. It makes me laugh so much. I just love it, and we'll try to double your listenership. Maybe you'll have 6 or 7, with your newest episode. Yeah,
like no one can find it anyway. It seems.
Yeah, well, I have links to it down below in the description of this video and in the show notes if you're listening on the podcast, and that way you guys are just no more than a tap away from Jack and Total Christmas Podcast, and so. Well, Jack, I really appreciate you hopping on here with me.
Hey, you kick me off already. If you kick me off, Todd, I'm going to speak to the wife. Can't I stay here?
No, you can stay here. You can't stay here because here's what we're going to do. I'm going to end the podcast, but we're going to stay on YouTube and talk with all the great people in the chat and see what they have to say and catch up on some of the things they said about what we were talking about. And so if you're just listening on the podcast, I really appreciate it. But if you ever get a chance to hang out with us on our live recordings on YouTube, we'd love to have you there. This time's at a different time for us because I want it to be available for my listeners that are over in the UK and Ireland and Germany and stuff at a more decent hour of the day for them. And so it started 6 hours earlier, and so they could be around. It looks like we have a few able to hop in, which has made me very happy. But for you guys out there in podcast land, thank you again for listening to us here on Christmas Clatter. Jack, Total Christmas Podcast, all his links are in the description, the show notes. So go check him out. I know you'll enjoy what he has to offer. And man,
thanks. You're big it up now, Todd. You've picked up my podcast, and people will stop trusting you. They go and listen to it. Like, what was Todd talking about? Feeling sorry for that strange English bloke. And then they'll be like, well, we can't trust him anymore. You don't want to do that, Todd. Just tell it like it is.
Well, see, here
shout to the microphone, and then people sometimes, and then 3 people listen.
Well, see, it's different here in the States with your English accent. You can say whatever you want, and people think you're automatically way smarter than they are. So people listen to it thinking they're getting an education just because of the accent.
My accent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's the way it goes. People hear my Southern accent and they just automatically think I'm way dumber than I really am, which kind of goes for my advantage too. But guys, until we see you again, remember, keep Christmas hope alive.
Merry, happy Christmas, everyone.
Absolutely. Guys, thanks for hanging out in the chat. We'll stick around. I want to scroll back here a little bit and say hello to a few people and things. And here's Jessica. See, she just recently found your podcast and she really likes it.
More
So,
lies. More
yeah.
lies.
So, yeah. Steven's been a long time supporter of yours. So, and Ken from Wisconsin, great to have you aboard here, man. I know you're working.
Todd and Guest. That's
Yeah.
it. Todd and Guest.
Yeah.
Didn't even with my name.
Yeah.
I haven't
Well,
the name.
Dwayne came back from his meeting. So, here, Gretchen, all our cookies, Scandinavian. I can't spell them. I don't know. I'm not sure. We cookies. I'm not sure.
We Scandinavian were
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
our Christmas cookies were Scandinavian.
We're Scandinavian. Oh, okay. We're Scandinavian.
I'm
I'm not
guessing.
sure
I'm
what
guessing.
those would be. I know my wife makes every Christmas morning for we have a Christmas breakfast. My parents come over and my mother-in-law and she makes my wife's family's Norwegian. I think it was my wife's grandparents or maybe great grandparents were Norwegian immigrants, and she makes Norwegian pancakes for Christmas
Oh,
morning
nice.
breakfast. Yeah, and they're just kind of like crepes, real thin.
Hmm.
Yeah. So Steven
That
says you guys have chocolates more than cookies. So.
selection boxes and
Mm-hmm.
sharing tubs. Yeah, he's right. You know,
Mm-hmm.
do you get the big? Do you get celebrations over there? I think I've asked someone this before. You familiar with celebrations?
I don't think so.
Okay, it's like imagine a Mars bar that's the
Mm-hmm.
size of a chocolate you'd get in a chocolate box, or
Okay.
a bounty. You get bounties over there. Twix. You
Yeah.
get Twix, don't you?
Twix. Okay. So miniatures. We call them miniatures.
Oh, miniatures. Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah, so you put like a big round plastic tub,
Mm-hmm.
and sort of you pass those, and they get. Do you know what they get? Every year they're getting smaller and smaller. They used to be huge. You
Yeah.
could like hide stuff and at the bottom, hide the chocolates in the corners of the tub, and now they're just getting. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've lost 50 grams. They're about 660 grams now. No,
Yeah.
610, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, Here in the States, those big tins of popcorn, where it comes divided up with like just regular popcorn and caramel corn and cheese corn. When I was a kid, those used to be huge, and now they get smaller and smaller. And then a lot of times you'll open the tin and there'll be like 3 air-filled bags of popcorn. And it's like I don't know why I paid so much money for this. There's barely any popcorn in here.
Someone mentioned this on their podcast because I've never seen this before. I don't know if it
Uh-huh.
was your good self or if it was Jerry talking about it to someone. Yeah, that's not something we get the big because they're big
Yeah.
metal tins. Is that
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you don't get a lot of popcorn because do you string the popcorn together on a
I
thread and hang it? Is that
I
something you do?
have I have when I was younger, but that's kind of become a thing of the past. A lot of people do it just for nostalgia reasons.
Yeah.
But,
See,
mhm.
Shelley, the lady I was talking about earlier, she was saying that they do it and then when they take it off the tree, they leave it outside or hang it outside for the birds, which I thought was nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't. I don't think I've ever seen that in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it might have been just one of those things that I don't know why it started. Maybe just from the depression or something. People needing some tinsel or garland or something.
Right? Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hey, John, he's from Stockport in the UK. So good to have you aboard, John. Thank you for hopping on here with us. So,
Yeah, John.
so yeah, Kelsey Grammer at Scrooge. I think he did Scrooge once already, but he probably did
He
great.
did Christmas Carol the musical. That's not a bad one
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah.
I watched it again. Was it last year? No, I watched it this year because I was going to do it on the show and then I
Uh-huh.
didn't. It's not
So,
awful. It's
yeah.
short, really short, but it's not awful.
Yeah. Well, sometimes short's okay. You know, that's kind of one of my gripes with Hollywood in general is they've forgotten how to put together the solid 90-minute movie,
I
you know,
know.
and it's like,
Yeah.
I don't need every movie to be 2 hours and 42 minutes. Just give me a nice solid 90 minutes of entertainment and go on, you know?
Yeah. Leave on a high note. That's
Yeah.
it. I agree. Yeah. Yeah. That's that Kelsey Grammer version's got George Jason Alexander from Seinfeld.
Yeah.
He is Marley. He does a very interesting job on that one. Yeah.
I bet
Yeah.
so. I bet so. That's this. I can't keep my mind. I keep wondering on who should be playing Scrooge next. It just keeps all these
I'll stick
possibilities.
with Liam Neeson. I think because
Yeah,
Liam Neeson's got the nose for it, I think he'd
yeah,
be a good one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think him being tall, they could really lean into that too. Real tall and dark and kind of scary.
That's a good
And,
point, actually. It makes
hmm
him more imposing when he's a
Right,
bad guy, but then when he's a good guy, he'd be like more like the life and soul of the party, which is,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, kind of like that Jolly Giant kind of thing.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. So, well, if there's anybody with any questions, just drop them in the comments and we'll answer them best we can. If you got advice, need advice for your life, we'll tell you something. So,
They've got
but
it's a segment on my show, isn't it? Jack Ask.
yeah,
Just send your questions to Jack Ask with my
yeah,
fantastic jingle sent in by Travis Gronsdal.
yeah, yeah. I always thought about doing advice. That would be fun, but I don't want anybody to take me seriously though.
No,
You
I
know,
don't think I've got that problem. No
yeah,
one's going to take my advice seriously. But
you know,
not many things. I started the segment because someone sent in some questions, and then no one else did. And then
yeah.
Travis suddenly, out of the blue, sent in like 5 questions. So it sort of kept me occupied the last 3 episodes.
That's
With,
nice.
yeah, it is. It's nice to get people involved. I've
Yeah,
noticed this just this last week. The amount of emails has really, really gone up. I
uh huh,
suppose really gearing up for Christmas, so they get in touch,
yeah.
and I forget to reply. Yeah,
Yeah, I've had people contact me on like the 17th of December wanting to know if they could come on the podcast to promote some kind of thing they got going on. It's like,
that's a
um,
bit late, isn't
I'm
it?
like, dude, I'm done. It's like you should have reached out 6 months ago. You know,
Yeah, they should have. Not just that. What they think's going to happen in 7 days? You think
yeah,
that yeah, if you're selling something for Christmas, get in before December.
yeah, yeah. But it's like, and then I had one guy contact me. He wrote a book about um, the influence of slavery on Christmas in America. Like, and it was like early December, and I'm thinking, well, for one, I don't have enough time, and two, I I'm not the guy to want to tackle this. I'm sure it's
No,
real. I'm sure it's fascinating. Yeah,
that is not someone I've got to worry about hearing from.
yeah, I'm sure it's fascinating. I really do, but it's like I might not be the guy for that.
No.
And but it's interesting the people that reach out and things, and then there's been people that reach out and they're like, "Hey, I got a new song," and then you listen to it and you're like, mm.
Yeah,
Or a
I got
book and you
sent.
read a little bit of it, you're like,
That's it.
mm.
I got sent a book by this guy, and it was a I don't know if I should go into it. It's a proper novel, and he sent me a PDF of it, but it's about Father Christmas, but it was a really sort of modern day take on Father, and I did not like it at all.
Yeah,
And but then I remember hearing someone else on another podcast actually did plug it, and I thought, well, you're a braver man than me.
yeah,
I'm not.
yeah.
I'm not. Yeah.
I I only do children's books if I promote one because, for one, having the time to read through a book because I want to read through it before I have them on, that's hard. But on top of that, I'm a super slow reader, and so it takes me even longer to get through them. And on top of that, I just don't enjoy reading books a lot, so I just don't do books unless they're children's books, and then I can get through them pretty quick. And
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
mhm.
I remember. I think you had someone on your show, a young lady that was on American Idol, and then she had an album released, but I can't remember her
Yeah, yeah,
name.
yeah. Joanna,
Johanna. Yeah,
yeah,
there was
Johanna, yeah,
Johanna Jones. Is it
yep,
Johanna?
that's it. Yeah, Johanna Jones.
I
Yep.
still listen to some of her songs. She sent some in, but it
hmm
was a bit late, and I had a few people that sent songs in, so I didn't have
hmm
anyone on to talk about it because she was actually on your show, wasn't she?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and I still listen to. There's two of her songs that I've got on my playlist that I absolutely love.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
They
don't know
were
what they're
really
called.
good. I was surprised she didn't release a full Christmas album. You know,
Yeah,
so
she, yeah, she had a delightful voice. Yeah,
hmm yeah, yeah. Real oh, Karen Carpenter kind of sound
it was.
almost.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. I've got an interview I'm doing actually tomorrow with a guy that he's got a podcast about historical fiction, and he sent me an audio book of one of his short stories, a Christmas one, and
Hmm.
that was really good. It was like a mystery, but it was set at Christmas, but it featured Friar Tuck, like Robin Hood's mate,
Hmm.
and it was almost like just trying to think of an example, a similar thing that's like you'd have a TV show set in the historical times, a monk going around solving crimes, and it was really, really good. I listened to it a couple of times, and I'll be talking to him about that. But he does a lot of Christmas stories and that, historical fiction. So I'm looking forward
Yeah.
to finding out a bit more about that. But I'm the same. If someone sent me a full length book, I'd have trouble getting through it.
Yeah.
So audiobooks are the way for me because then I can listen to them at work. You see?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That's usually how, when I need to read a book for the podcast, if I'll grab the audio book and just listen while I'm at work. Same thing.
yeah.
Just to get it. So, well, Jack, I think I'll let you go back to
Okay,
your evening. You'll have to go in there and chat with your wife now, but that won't be bad. But guys in the chat here on YouTube, thanks so much for being a part. We'll be back not what's today, Tuesday, not tomorrow, day before Thanksgiving. I won't be back tomorrow, but a week from Wednesday. Hopefully work settles down and I'll be back. And if all goes to plan, I'll be having my very own mother on this show as a
Oh
guest.
wow, I'll be looking forward to that one.
So, um, so hopefully all will go well, and we'll have that next week. So, Jack, again, thanks so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. Keep up the good work, and
I will.
yeah, and guys, again, until we meet again, keep Christmas hope alive every day.